Stay with us, this gets deeper. Did you know that much of what we consider Western philosophy and science may have its roots in ancient Africa? Today, we're diving deep into a book that challenges everything you thought you knew about the origins of civilization. We're going to unpack the arguments, explore the evidence, and ultimately, decide whether this book deserves a place on your bookshelf. The book we are examining is Stolen Legacy by George Book proposes a controversial yet compelling thesis that Greek philosophy, often considered the cornerstone of Western thought, was actually derived from ancient Egyptian mystery schools. James argues that prominent Greek thinkers like Aristotle and Plato were heavily influenced by Egyptian teachings, which were later misrepresented or outright stolen. Central to James's argument is the concept of the Egyptian mystery system. He describes these systems as institutions of higher learning where initiates were taught advanced knowledge in mathematics, science, philosophy, and spirituality. James claims that this knowledge was systematically appropriated by the Greeks following the conquest of Egypt by Alexander the Great. He provides examples of specific philosophical concepts and scientific principles that he believes can be traced back to Egyptian origins. For example, he argues that the concept of the logos, a fundamental principle in Greek philosophy, can be found in earlier Egyptian texts. Similarly, he suggests that the Pythagorean theorem, often attributed to the Greek mathematician Pythagoras, was known and utilized by the Egyptians centuries before. James further contends that the true authors of many philosophical and scientific works were deliberately obscured or erased from history. He suggests that this was part of a broader effort to deny Africans their intellectual and cultural heritage. While Stolen Legacy is a provocative and influential work, it has also stayed with us. This gets deeper. Faced criticism from some scholars. One common criticism is that James relies heavily on secondary sources and interpretations, rather than directly engaging with primary historical texts. Some critics also argue that his claims about the extent of Egyptian influence on Greek thought are exaggerated and lack sufficient evidence. It's important to acknowledge these criticisms and approach Stolen Legacy with a critical eye. However, even if some of James's specific claims are debatable, the book raises important questions about the construction of historical narratives and the role of Africa in the development of human civilization. The book forces us to reconsider the established narratives surrounding the origins of Western thought. It prompts us to examine the biases and assumptions that may have shaped our understanding of history. It acts as a catalyst for further research and investigation into the intellectual contributions of ancient African civilizations. Whether you agree with all of James's conclusions or not, Stolen Legacy is a thought-provoking and important book that deserves attention. It challenges us to look beyond the conventional wisdom and to consider the possibility that the history we've been taught is incomplete. So, should you read Stolen Legacy? If you're interested in African history, the history of philosophy, or the decolonization of knowledge, then I would say absolutely. Just be sure to approach it with a critical and discerning mind. Consider this book as a conversation starter, a thought experiment, and one piece of a much larger puzzle. We must always seek out multiple perspectives, consult a variety of sources, and engage in rigorous critical thinking. Ultimately, the goal is not to simply accept or reject any single narrative, but to develop a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of the past. Subscribe to Punna Afric for more African history and wealth wisdom. Follow for more untold African stories.